Okay.
Let's edit
Okay.
out my cane.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a lot of notes, but they're kind of random, scattered here and there.
Okay, well, just tell us your stories. We'd
Okay.
love to hear.
All right, I'll let her start.
You want to start?
Okay, we call this, my sister and I, Diane King and me, we call this our playhouse. Because Shirley Fields lived right next door. We lived in 1717 Swenson, directly in front of the sidewalk, that's 1717 Swenson. Shirley Fields lived next door in 1701. So during grade school years, we had just moved here when I was in the middle of first grade. So you were in kindergarten. Shirley and she and I got together often, and we'd walk from one place to another, and I don't remember from where or where to, but I remember the three of us walking together. And Shirley was in the middle, I was the tallest, Shirley was next, and Diane was the shortest. One time we had, I'm skipping around a little bit, one time we had a lemonade stand on that corner, the southeast corner. And that lasted, I don't know who made the lemonade, who trudged across the street to bring it to our little stand. I don't remember that, but I just remember the lemonade stand lasted about one day.
Did you make any money?
I don't remember any money exchange. Okay, my favorite memory is this stairway right here. And Mrs. Swenson would allow us, how generous she was, to climb up the stairs, go up to the closet up there, and choose one of her old dresses, party dresses, for us to play house in. And we played house right here on the stairway. So that is my main memory of this whole place.
Let me add, they played the Victrola. The Victrola was in the music room, and they put the Victrola on, and we came marching down those steps in those long dresses, and we had a lot of fun.
I remember just sitting right here, you know, arranging ourselves beautifully, but I don't remember any conversation that took place. But I'm sure that Shirley was with us in those days, too. Mrs. Swenson was very domestic-minded, and often she would or maybe have her servant or cook make the roll dough, make the dough for the rolls, and then arrange them in the pan. And then when it was just time to put in the oven, she would walk all the way from here to our house to present us with the present of rolls that are just ready to pop into the oven. I think that happened a few times. But that's the only socializing we did.
Yeah.
With her?
With
She-
her, part
yeah,
of the family, except for Shirley.
And Shirley is the one they always called Shug.
Yeah.
One thing I really liked about this place that we lived across the street was the big sidewalks. We could skate, we could do anything, especially that big wide sidewalk up to the front door. And I noticed the other day that they took out the sidewalk along the street, but they put it back.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Put
Yeah.
it back. I thought maybe they were going to take it out so they wouldn't have to mow, trim.
No, we, with it being a historical house, we had to put it back. Yeah.
Like it was.
Yes.
I see.
And if there was a sidewalk over here on the south
South
side,
side.
we just have part of it. We
Oh.
didn't put all of that.
I don't remember that. I do remember we had, the Manleys lived in that big house on the corner. They had a son called Jimmy Manley, who later moved back to the corner. Have you heard this story about
No.
caves that he dug in the, in the ground. He really had tunnels and caves in that place back there. But I
No wonder
loved
they
that.
had to move.
And Shirley decided at one time that she was gonna have a camp here. And she was gonna charge everybody a little bit. She didn't tell her mother about this.
Entrepreneur.
But she was gonna have a camp, and we were gonna have archery and several little games, and the pond out there was the swimming pool. And she was gonna charge everybody 15 cents a piece. But that didn't last very long when
Not
her
like
mother
lemonade.
found out about it. No,
Not
no.
like the lemonade stand. I also remember the arbor, playing in the arbor. And I don't remember conversations or playing games or making up stories, just being there.
So how old was Shirley compared to you girls?
1 year older.
She, a year older than you?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was the youngest one. And I loved the pecan trees. How many pecan trees were there originally? Do you know?
I have no
It
idea.
seemed like there were, you know, many more.
I think there probably were, but, you know, there are 2 out there now.
They're
And,
buried,
yes.
yes.
Mhm.
Well,
Well,
I
there's
could-
3. There's one out there on the corner too.
yeah. The only thing I could ever remember Mrs. Swenson complaining about was that people would come on both sides of this block, bring their little satchel, their little bags, pick up all the pecans that they could see and take them home with them. They never shared the pecans with the owners. And that bothered her. And so several times I'd climb up in those trees, shake them real good so the pecans would come down and they could pick them up in their yard. But there was a lot of traffic on both sides because College Heights School was right down there. That's where we both went to school.
Walked.
And so traffic on both sides of this block picked up a lot of pecans.
Did Shirley go to school with y'all?
No,
Did
I
she
don't
walk
recall
with
that
us?
she did. We walked down the alley,
Uh-huh.
but I don't remember, she may have gone to another school.
A private
Private
school?
school?
Uh-huh, it's possible.
I don't know.
I don't know that. Anyway, party rests the heart. We had neighbors. We had a couple of neighbors down in the next block. Neva
On the other
and
side.
Billy Lou Oldham lived in the next block, and then Jimmy Manley lived here. So we had a few kids in the neighborhood. The nice thing about this location was we could walk to College Heights, we could walk to North Junior, and we didn't have to have rides.
And she could learn to play tennis out in the street.
Oh,
And
my
we all
goodness.
played baseball out in the street.
It was
And
a-
also tennis.
It was a very quiet
You know,
street.
the middle of the block, the main traffic was on Grape Street, not Swenson Street. And so when we'd see a car turn this way, we could just go over to the sidewalk or to the curb and then let the car pass, and then we'd go back and finish our baseball game.
Game on.
And you're still playing tennis?
I still
Oh,
play.
yes.
Oh my goodness, that's how Chanel knows you.
This is where it started.
Oh
Right
my
out here.
goodness.
That's where I started. Their mother and Daddy had a couple of tennis rackets hanging in the garage. Daddy had tried to play at one time until he had a bad back. He was in the Navy for 8 years. And a couple of their nurses at their clinic played or knew something about tennis. So we'd draw a line with the chalk rock and hit balls back and forth. It was a long way to Cobb Park.
Oh my
I
goodness.
had to walk down there sometime later. And the garden, do they still have the garden plot back here? Do they grow anything in that garden?
We put corn in it for a corn maze at Haunted Abilene.
Oh, really? Uh-huh. Well, the only thing I remember was asparagus. They grew asparagus, and I
We
thought that was
still have
so,
asparagus out here by the house, and we have asparagus out in the big gardens.
I see.
And I guess I understand it's from the Swensons.
Uh-huh. I would think so, because I thought it was so unusual. I had never seen asparagus growing. And I enjoyed their garden.
That was educational.